Okay, starting in 3, 2, 1, and we are off. Whew, man, that setup was difficult. Sorry for this interference, everyone. Alright, hey guys, this is Elias, eCarm32, coming at you live from in the parking lot. We were off for a little bit. Schedules were a bit of a trouble. Still are, kind of, but Ant will join me soon, hopefully. We will figure it out because this is something that we, like I said, we both want to do. I beat this thing to death. It's going to happen again. Right now I'm recording on my iPhone and recording on the microphone separately so that I can at least have the audio saved up and be good, because for whatever reason I can never sync it up to the video. It's something we'll figure out. That's probably something that camera would solve with a microphone, so at least the audio would be good and we still upload to YouTube and then still do this, which would help us recording when we eventually go to streaming services, which is still a plan of ours. We're still actively trying to figure all of that out. So it's very important to us because it's just be a lot easier. Hopefully our audience will grow. We would like for everyone to hear our opinions and stuff. But, yeah. So that's enough of all of that. You are in the parking lot. But this segment, when I am talking to you one-on-one, will be uploaded to the channel. But it's going to be in the parking lot, like... I just came up with a name. I guess that's how creative things work. In the Parking Lot presents Curbside. Basically what that meaning, we're sticking with the parking lot theme. We're sticking with the car theme. But curbside, be by myself. Chilling, sitting, thinking about stuff. So on today's episode, we will be talking about a couple things. One of them being my thoughts on the Joker, which both me and Ant saw. Also, I want to see Jay and Silent Bob reboot by myself, because I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. And needless to say, it was something I've been waiting for a while. I was introduced to Kevin Smith through Jay and Silent Bob, Strike Back, Snoochie Booches, all that fun stuff. So yeah, I'm going to touch on a little bit of that. Also, Comic-Con I'll touch on a little bit. Hopefully I don't go for too long. I know right now I'm at a 2-minute recording as far as seeing it record the audio. So let's get started. So we'll start with the most recent thing that I saw, which happened to be Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Initial thoughts, I wasn't expecting anything ridiculous. I wasn't expecting like phenomenal, holy shit, this thing is amazing, because, it's Kevin Smith product. So it's very good and it's framed very well and it's recorded very well and all that stuff is great. But it's not like, I guess the severity of everything isn't as like important as like, I don't know, maybe an Avengers movie, or like, this is a terrible, terrible comparison, and I'm sure if Kevin Smith was here, he'd say, why would you even put us in the same sentence? Like, it's not like a Godfather type level of like ridiculousness. But with all that being said, I know that sounded very negative, but my feelings are completely the opposite. I really loved it. It was really awesome. I liked every single bit of it. So did the whole theater. We were laughing. Everyone was laughing. The only thing I'll complain about, which isn't anything to do with the movie, but I purposely bought a seat next to a handicap seat so I could sit by myself. And this guy who might have not even had a movie ticket ended up sitting not in the handicap seat, but in the seat next to it, which, if I'm thinking correctly, is one, two... No, it's 2 seats, because I remember I was fighting him the whole fucking time with the armrest. Shit was ridiculous. I was like, dude, get out of here. Did you even buy a ticket? Like, the rest of us are here trying to have a good time and you're ruining it. Oh, man, I was really upset, but I got over it as soon as the movie started rolling. So it started out with an intro, which was only specifically for that day, which I think was October 15th. Yes, it was the 15th of October, because that was the singular release through Fathom Events that he would do for the movie. So certain theaters that would carry Fathom Events, there's actually a good amount of theaters near me that carry it. But this particular one was the only one that wasn't really sold out. Every single other one was sold out, or just the front row seats like available, which is something I'm not trying to do. Not at all, because the last thing I want, even in the cool recliner things, looking up and killing your neck to watch a movie is ridiculous. So I found a theater near me that has, your normal theater seating. It's a little bit of an older theater, but they had it going on and they had tickets available. So I sat where I like to sit usually, more towards the back of the theater, kind of all the way to the left, which I thought maybe would have bothered me a little bit, as far as like continually looking in this direction and like turning my neck a little bit, but it actually wasn't too bad. The seats were comfy, luckily, even though it wasn't those crazy luxurious recliner things. Popcorn was good. The soda was good. Something I treated myself, because this is a movie I've been waiting for a while, because Kevin Smith has made his bodies of work, whatever creative medium he used, whether that be film, he's written comic books, he's done I think it's called Jay and Silent Bob's Groovy Cartoon Movie, which I've never seen, but I've seen like bits and pieces of. Any type of medium that this guy does, I personally like a lot. And also, I'm a huge fan of his podcast, Fat Man on Batman. Fat Man Beyond, formerly known as Fat Man on Batman, which I've referenced on this very podcast multiple times. And it's Kevin Smith and a gentleman named Mark Bernardin, who used to do like newsy type stuff. He's also written some stuff. He currently is writing for TV shows and things like that. But it's a podcast I've listened to for a long time. One of my little life goals is going out to LA, where they do the live showings of it, and going to the Scum and Villainy Cantina, which is where they shoot it at, and just, soaking it all in, because it's something I've only seen through a computer screen or my phone streaming service. But yeah, I've only okay, I'm getting sidetracked. I've only seen it through YouTube, off of Kevin Smith's YouTube channel, and I wouldn't watch it all the way because the videos are quite long, and it's just a lot easier just listening to a podcast through a streaming service, which tie back is the reason why we're trying to get on some streaming services, so you guys can access us a lot easier. Luckily, YouTube is a platform that we do like a lot. We like the video component. We like, the interaction between me and my co-host and things like that, and the interaction I get with you guys when I'm, doing singular videos. And yeah, so without describing it scene by scene, it was awesome. I liked it a bunch. I wish I was able to catch it on his Reboot Roadshow. It went through Philly a couple times, which isn't too far from where I'm currently located in Jersey. And also it did it a little bit farther in, I want to say, was it Hoboken? No, it wasn't Hoboken. I don't think it was that north, but it definitely, wherever his secret stash is, Asbury Park. It was Asbury Park. Shout out Bam Bam Bigelow as well, because I'm pretty sure he's from there. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. But yeah, it was a Kevin Smith movie in the best possible way. Through the ones I've seen Dogma. I've seen a little bits and pieces of Clerks. Obviously, I've seen Strike Back. And also, I've seen a little bit of Chasing Amy, just a slight bit. Oh, no, not Chasing Amy, Jersey Girl. I've seen a little bit of Jersey Girl. This is probably my very favorite Kevin Smith movie. So if you guys don't know, for whatever reason, Jay and Silent Bob are two characters. Kevin Smith is Silent Bob. Doesn't talk. Why he's called Silent Bob. And then Jay is Jason Mewes, who they've done work together. Obviously, they grew up together, one in North Jersey. Also, they did Clerks together. They did Clerks 2 together, and that was the first like jump off between like the movies that they did. So yeah, man, it was really funny. It was I've never heard so many people in a theater laugh so many times on certain things. It was almost seemed like every other scene, everyone was laughing. He was referencing other movies that he's made. He was referencing characters that were in other movies. He was referring to Hollywood in kind of like a third person point of view without coming out and saying certain things. They parodied Hollywood and movie making and all that stuff. And to make a long story even longer, the premise of the movie was, if you watched Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, which was the first movie that was before this reboot, the plot was basically they heard about a movie that was going to come out in Hollywood that was called Blunt Man and Chronic, which was like I think if my memory serves me correctly, it was movie characters. It was comic book characters that either they came up with or someone else came up with. Maybe Brody created it, and then Hollywood bought the rights to the movie in the first one. I don't remember exactly, but anyway, this is the same. It's a similar premise, but they're poking fun at sequels and stuff and reboots and all those things. And basically, it's a reboot of Blunt Man and Chronic that they're going to currently go and stop. So right off the top, I'm like, all right, I know this story. I know what can come of it, and hopefully it's all good stuff. So from that point on, it was endless laughs. Like I said, almost every other scene. A bunch of cameos. I know right off top, Donnell Rawlings was in the very beginning as a police officer. You had Matt Damon in it. You had Ben Affleck in it. You had Rosario Dawson. You had all your characters from the Clerks movies and stuff like that. You also had, I'm trying to think of exactly. Okay, so you had the girl from Strike Back was in this movie as well. I'm forgetting the actress's name, and I wish I could research it, but my computer's been acting up really bad, so I'm honestly scared to pull up the internet on my laptop to try to look it up. And obviously, my phone is doing the recording. Anyway, the girl that Jay was crushing on that was within the Diamond Thieves that they met in Strike Back was in this movie. So that gave away a little bit of the plot. But let's start from the beginning. Again, they're trying to stop a movie. They're trying to stop Blunt Man Chronic reboot from happening. Shenanigans ensue, things like that. And, it went from there. Kevin Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn Smith, was in it as basically Jay and the girl from Strike Back's love child. But the lady was basically saying, like, listen, like, she doesn't know who her dad is. It's you, but, like, don't tell her. Like, I don't want her to get crushed, blah, blah, blah. And actually, Rosario Dawson was the girl's, like, wife. So it was, like, a lesbian marriage, which was awesome because you don't see that too often. And also, it was unexpected. Like, I saw little Instagram snippets and pictures and stuff that Kevin Smith would take on set. And I'm like, what is Rosario Dawson doing that for? I think she was in maybe Dogma, if I remember correctly, and he brought her back. He managed to bring her back, so that was really cool. So basically, the whole trip there is something that basically ends at a thing called, I think it was Chronicon, which is funny. It's like parodying Comic-Con in San Diego. And also another underlying theme of it was Jay and Silent Bob had 3 strands of weed that they made. I forget the names off top. I wish I remembered exactly. But all they had left was because in the beginning of the movie they got busted by the police, so they couldn't grow anymore. But all they had left was 3 joints of these 3 strains of weed that they had left. And they're like, we only can smoke this for, well, Jay, because obviously Kevin Smith's character was silent the whole time, Silent Bob. So it was 3 strands of weed left, and Jay was basically saying like, we can't smoke this shit until like it's like we definitely need it, and it's like a good reason to, because after we smoke this, it's gone, it's done. So that was kind of like another arc of the whole movie, and things like that. Special occasions was the word I was looking for. So I'll wrap it up. Go see it if you can, if it's in your neck of the woods for the road show. I think if it does come to your area, train of thought. If it does come to your area, I believe it opens up in theaters in that region or in that vicinity that aren't too far. Sorry, words, guys. It's been a while, but they aren't too far from where they're actually doing the reboot. I know the 15th, when I saw it, it came out in the Fathom Events theaters, as well as the 17th. The 17th was a double feature of Strike Back, and then it rolls right into Reboot, which is something I would have loved to do, but I was working, so I couldn't make it. But I did see the movie. If it comes out on Blu-ray, I'm probably going to buy it. If for ever some reason this podcast or my trips through, Comic-Con and, comic books and all this other stuff that I talk about on social media and I'll show on social media, if for whatever reason I meet Kevin Smith, or if I go to like the live taping of Fat Man Beyond, one, I'll freak out, and two, if that's the path that's chosen for me in life, then that would be super awesome, and I'd be super grateful. Okay, so transition for something that made a lot of people laugh to something that stirred up a lot of controversy, a lot of issues, maybe not so much laughs. I know when I saw it, nobody really said anything. Joker. We'll transition into Joker. So, what I will say is I went in with zero expectations because I know I was old enough to remember Heath Ledger as his Joker, which was amazing. I remember those Dark Knight movies. I also unfortunately remember how Suicide Squad went. And I thought Suicide Squad was okay, but I tried rewatching it when it was on, I think TBS or TNT or something. I watched maybe 5 minutes of it from the beginning. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. So all the Suicide Squad fans out there, I'm sorry, but personal opinions. That's what you guys come here to watch and listen. So basically, it's Joaquin Phoenix as Joker. Why am I blanking on his name? Was it Andy? No, it wasn't Andy. Tyler? No, it wasn't Tyler. Man, I gotta watch the movie again. Okay, I thought it was good. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say like an 8, 8.5. It was awfully slow for me personally in the beginning, but hindsight's 2020. I understand why it was slow in the beginning. It's going to show you the slow descent into madness that that Joaquin Phoenix character is going through to become the Joker. So, wow, train of thought. I keep losing my train of thought. It's been so long. I keep messing up. So, to make a long story even longer, I did like the Joker. I plan on seeing it again. To pick up on little Easter eggs and stuff. For movies I do like a lot, I try to go back and see it a second time to see if things hit me in a different way, or if I notice anything that might have been different from the first time I saw it. And I thought it was like an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was really slow in the beginning, but then it started to pick up. The pacing made sense, again, in hindsight. So that was something that was super cool. Also, the way that Joaquin Phoenix played the Joker was really awesome. He wasn't, how can I put this in an eloquent way? He wasn't trying to be like every other Joker. He was being his own Joker, which is something I feel like any actor should do as he's trying to play this type of character. Because, again, if you're into the comic books at all, Joker doesn't really have a backstory. He doesn't have an origin, really. It's just, he just kind of happened. It was like an amalgamation of certain things happening in Gotham City that created this insane, deranged character within the Joker. And with that being said, you saw the descent into madness. Like, it was really, like, you felt it, which is something that you don't always pick up as far as tone and how they put things across on the screen, like how the director decides to direct it and things like that. It was really it was really cool to see the Joker get something of what's the word I'd be looking for. The Joker to receive motorcycle in the background fucked me up. It was cool to see the Joker receive his just due from Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger did a really good job, obviously. Rest in peace to Heath. I know if he would have stayed alive, that role would have took him to really cool places as an actor and things like that. But Joaquin Phoenix did a really good job in kind of the vision that him and the director had, whose name is, again, failing to remember his name. The direction they took was really good. It touched on something that I kind of care about, that I'm slowly starting to... I never was ignorant to the fact of, like, mental health and things like that, but it's something that I've dealt with personally, that kind of how society kind of builds you up, you kind of brush it off. And then I started, talking and understanding it and, reading things and just going through life, getting older and getting wiser, I guess you could say. I don't know if I'm that much wiser from when I was 5 years ago or whatever, but I'd like to think I was. But yeah, it touched on mental health in a very interesting way, and I feel like it shed a light on a lot of things that people that go through mental illnesses go through. It was refreshing is the wrong word, I feel like. But it was refreshing to see someone shed light on it, because for the longest, if you guys are, have been into recent culture, mental health awareness has been very important as of recently. And it's not like it hasn't ever been important, but it's kind of come to the limelight, and people are admitting to the fact that they suffer with mental illnesses, or how important mental health is. And obviously you'd have your certain characters and certain people in the world that always would talk about mental health and mental illnesses, and how you should, help friends that you think might go through it and things like that. But more, I would say, as of recently, more people have come out and say, like, hey, I suffer from this, and kind of humanizing it in a way that people really realize and they can resonate, and they see, like, they finally see, like, I'm not the only one. And as far as me going through, I would argue mild depression and things like that, my anxiety and things like that, and the nervousness I'll get sometimes. It was good to see someone put it out on Front Street, and someone to paint it in a way that was, hey, this isn't something that should be taken lightly. It's something that's very important, that if you don't check up on it, you will, this is going to sound corny as fuck, but you will turn into a Joker type character, because, like I said, you saw the descent into madness, and you saw, things that Stanley, I think his name is Stanley. So for the fact of this video, let's just call him Stanley. If I'm wrong, I apologize 100 times over. Again, I'm sorry, guys. I really am. But let's just I feel like it is Stanley. I feel like that's right. Anyway, you saw Stanley going through day to day, and you saw him slowly go through different events that turned him into the person he ended up turning into at the end of the movie, which is full-blown Joker. So, with all that being said, and trying not to go scene by scene like how we tend to do on this podcast, but this is Curbside, so it's something different. I would say there were certain things in the movie that I really appreciated. One of which was the laugh that Joaquin Phoenix would do for his character, for his Joker. So basically, this character, again, I'm calling him Stanley because I feel like that's right, but I could be wrong. But Stanley has I guess you would consider it a mental disability in a way that he has like uncontrollable laughter, and he'll just have random spurts of laughing. Like right in the beginning, almost right in the beginning of the movie, he went through work. He got beat up by these guys. He was spinning a sign for, I think, an electronics store or something, and these random group of kids came, took his sign. He ran after them to get his sign back. Ended up getting jumped by like the 4 or 5 kids that there were. So he goes back to his boss. His boss, oh, why did you lose this equipment? Just coming out of your paycheck, blah, 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 whatever. So he gets on the bus, and that's kind of like the first instance of like really realizing that he has an issue, like he has a problem. He's on a bus going home, and he ends up sitting behind a mom and her child. And her child is staring at Stanley the whole time and just kind of staring and stuff like that. And then he started doing what some adults do when they started playing with the kid. He started going like this. He started going like this, changing his face and shit like that. Clowning around, so to speak. Sorry for the... Would it be a pun? I don't even know, but I apologize if that was terrible. And something happened. See, this is why I gotta say it again. Something happened that kind of stirred up his laughter. And he started laughing, and then the mom was looking at him strange, like, why the fuck are you laughing, kind of thing, and stop, like, talking to my child and messing with him and stuff like that. And he pulled out this little laminated card that says, I'm sorry, but I have a disability where I'll break out in laughter in situations that aren't funny or aren't meant to have laughter within it and stuff like that. So that's, his first sign of, his first sign of saying what his issue is, what his ailment is. And then also that's like the first big thing that you see might be like, oh shit, this might have something to do with him turning into the Joker. Is him giving this card out, not giving it out, but showing them, like pulling out his pocket and showing them like, hey, this is a disability I suffer with, and I'm currently taking care of it. I'm sorry for the inconvenience or whatever it said on the card. So with that being said, brings me to my next point. Throughout the whole movie, this gentleman, Joaquin Phoenix, I'm just gonna say Joaquin Phoenix because I feel like Stanley's right, but I feel like it might not be. He's trying to be a stand-up comedian, which, Joker, duh. But he's trying to be a stand-up comedian, but his sense of humor is very strange and a little deranged and a little dark already. I forget one of the things. So he has a book of jokes, quote unquote. And there's this one like bit that they end up zooming in on the book at one point. And there's like, they just show like different things that he's written down as jokes that aren't jokes. They're like super dark and kind of like ridiculous as far as someone thinking this is going to be funny. But again, the character makes sense. Sure, let's go with it. There's this one that it was something along the lines of like, I hope my death makes sense. But sense spelled like CENTS, so like money sense, not sense like I'm sensing something or I sense that you're upset or whatever the fact may be. So he's going through this, through all these hardships and stuff. He lives with his mom. Arguably, off top, I realized that I feel like there's something wrong with this guy's mom. I couldn't put my finger on it, and I couldn't say exactly what it was, but the way she was acting, you kind of realize that. Like, one of the things she would always harp on is, in this movie, there's no Bruce Wayne. Well, I mean, we'll get to it, but there is a Bruce Wayne, but its main focus is Thomas Wayne, which happens to be his father. And they don't really touch on Martha, really, which would be Bruce's mom. But I guess it's implied that she's there. So Joaquin Phoenix's character's mom used to work for Wayne Enterprises and would talk about how, oh, if Thomas knew like how bad we were, how bad our situation is, he would help us out. He's got a good heart, this, that, and the third. And that was something that Joaquin's character was like, yeah, sure, whatever, Mom. Like, he wouldn't remember us if, he wouldn't remember us if the memories would smack him in the face, so to speak. And he was very adamant about that, but his mom was like, no, he's a great guy, blah, blah, blah. And the backdrop of Gotham was very interesting, too, because it touched on how the whole city is descending into madness and, crime's going up. People are getting robbed. Stores are getting broken into. People are getting their, women are getting their purses stolen. This, all types of just bad stuff is happening. And it's like cranking up. It's turning up. And that's kind of like the backdrop to it all. And I believe Thomas Wayne is trying to run for governor or mayor or something like that of Gotham. So that's why he's on the TV and you see his character every now and then on the TV or being referred to or things like that. And yeah, so all that stuff happens. Also, there's another part of it that touches on mental illness as well. Is kind of not living the correct life or not living within your actual life. So, Ma Boo, Zazie Beetz, who also was Domino in Deadpool, she was in a role, I forget her name exactly within it, but they framed it as like her and Arthur like going out, having dinner. She went to his stand-up show, was laughing. They showed like they implied that they had sex at one point. They just showed them making out. Like there was like a romantic relationship going on. So again, descent into madness. Things go on. You see Zazie Beetz' character for a little bit, then you don't really see her at all, if anything, for a while. And slowly but steadily, things aren't going his Joaquin Phoenix's things are going Joker's way. I'm just gonna say Joker now. I don't know why I didn't just say that from the beginning. I'm trying to think of dude's name. It honestly was stupid of me to even think that would work because I can't even look up anything. But anyway, Joker, you saw how mentally insane and deranged he was getting throughout the whole movie. To the point when he's on a train coming back from a job when he is dressed as a clown. He's got the shoes, the makeup, the wild hair, all that stuff. He's dressed as a clown. He'll do the sign spinning or whatever. But that's like, he's part of an agency when there's a bunch of different clowns and they're all like, those characters interact as well. That didn't stick out to me as much as everything else, but it does have a part in the movie that we'll get to that was good. It made sense. So basically, he's on his way home. These dudes are drunk. There's like three guys. These guys are drunk. You can obviously tell they're slurring. The actors are slurring their words. They're, swaying more than you would normally, even on a subway car. And this lady was, she wasn't having any of it, but it was kind of like a damsel in distress situation. So at one point, Stanley, the Joker's laughing problem comes into happening. He starts laughing erratically without, the situation isn't funny, but he's laughing. And that brings me back to my one other point of the fact that his laugh changes. Like, it's always random spurts of laughter and things like that. But the way it sounds and the way he pitches it and things like that, it changes throughout the whole movie. And at this point, it's like, okay, he's about to turn into the Joker. Like, the laugh was that, like, how deranged and wild you would think his laugh would be, as far as like doing ridiculous serial killer things and being just mentally unstable. Like you're like, all right, this is going to happen soon. So anyway, they talk about they don't talk about anything, Elias. Anyway, they basically he starts laughing. The guys notice that he's laughing, and then they come over and it's like, "Ooh, what's funny?" Blah, 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 all this other stuff, and then they start, beating him up and stuff. We'll flash back real quick to the point when the agency I was telling you guys about, as far as like the clown, I'm gonna call it the clown agency because that's basically what it was. One of the other clowns gave Joker a gun. Joker's never used a gun before. He's at this point he's kind of he set it off in his apartment at one point, and he scared himself, like you could tell. But anyway, he still has his gun on him. There's a bit in it when he's doing a thing at a hospital as a clown, and his gun falls out of his pocket. He's like performing in front of children, so the shit was fucking wild. It was gnarly, but yeah, basically it popped out, and then that was basically the last straw that his boss had at the clown agency. He's like, "Why are you taking a gun to a children's hospital? Like, what's the point of doing all that? Why would you do that? Like, are you a fucking idiot?" type thing. So, him being on the train is him getting fired on his way home. So we'll flash back to these guys now, like picking on him and beating him up and stuff. Something clicks in his brain that's like, you know what? I've had enough. I'm going to deal with this the only way I think I can. Pulls out his gun, aims it at one of the dudes, and shoots him. Kills him, cold blood. He's in the middle of a subway train. Boom, shoots him. Dude falls. He gets a headshot off of him. Then the other two are freaking out. And now the Joker's like, wait, I can't leave fucking witnesses. Boom, hits the other one. Boom, hits the third guy. Second dude dies. Third guy, he doesn't get a good, fatal enough shot. And he's trying to run off the subway car and stuff. So, again, he's on his way home from being fired from the clown agency, so he still has his makeup on. And shoots third dude. Dude runs out. He's not completely dead. He's severely injured. He's bleeding out, all that stuff. Gets to the steps of the subway. Joker shoots him again. He dies, but then this is when you're like, oh, this is the fucking Joker. He shoots him like 4 more times. He empties the clip on this dude on his gun. And it's like a little like revolver pistol type thing. So it's not a lot of shots, but it was enough shots that you're just like, oh, this dude is fucking crazy. And for whatever reason, no one saw it, or they did see it, but they didn't talk about it. And when police showed up, there was like witnesses of just saying it's like this crazy, gnarly, like clown guy, even though it's like this skinny dude with clown makeup on, like greasy hair shit. They, when he gets home after he leaves the subway, they show like a sketch, like an eyewitness sketch type thing. It's like this It-looking guy. Like, if you guys know about It, Stephen King's It, and you know how that clown looks, it basically looked like that, but he looked like bigger. Like, bigger in the sense of, like, he was more muscular or whatever. And, whatever. Come to find out, the 3 dudes that Joker killed were all, like financial advice, and they weren't financial advisors. They were on Wall Street or something like that, and they all just started or something like that. But that created the uproar of now Gotham is like, you know what? This is our guy. Like, this makes sense. He's not killing anybody that doesn't deserve it. He's killing the people that are putting us in, who are putting pressure on our lives that making it worse because they can't afford the same things, and the only people that do well are the like 1%, and it's all that kind of undertone of it, and it kind of creates an uproar in the city. So now people are starting to dress up as clowns, and they're going to picket things and stuff like that. So that's how he's able to get away from the police. Is all the people. Wait, no, I just fucked it up. But anyway, there's Gotham is coming around Joker. Is like, this is our like vigilante type shit. Like, this is our guy now. Like, this is something that we align with. Like, fuck the rich guys. Like, they don't care about the little guys in the city, like, going through day to day, and they aren't dealing with the criminal activity and the violence that they have to go through and stuff like that. So fast forward, I'm jumping around because, again, I got to see that movie again so I know exactly, like, the things that made sense as far as the operations of, like, the, what's the word I'm looking for? The chronological events. It took a lot. That took a lot for me to figure out. But the chronological order of things. So I'm not sure if it was after that or before that. I think it was after that he was on his way home. Something happened to his mom, and she got taken to a hospital. And then from the hospital, they put her into like a mental hospital because they saw that she was, mentally unstable and things like that. So from that point, all this stuff is happening. I think at this point, that's when Joker finds out that Thomas Wayne might be his father. As a matter of fact, he just believes that Thomas Wayne is his dad, based off of what his mom would say, and also he found a file that. No, this was after he went to that Thomas Wayne party. So he went to a party, as normal Joker. I guess I'll call him that. So Joaquin Phoenix showed up at this Thomas Wayne party. He ends up going to the bathroom after. He's basically following Thomas Wayne throughout this whole event. Thomas Wayne ends up going to the bathroom, and he ends up following him. And you know what? Before this event happened, that must have been when he went to Wayne Manor and saw little Bruce, like child Bruce, and started like doing his clown shit and like really weird stuff, like borderline like pedophilia type shit. Like, I think he grabs young Bruce at one point and pulls him to the fucking fence or some shit. Because it's like a gate. Obviously, it's rich people shit. So it's a gated like mansion, it's gated land. So then he does this stuff, and then that's when Alfred comes out, which is wild because I didn't think they would put Alfred in it. But Alfred comes out, sees what his issue is, tells Bruce to, you shouldn't be, tells Bruce to go back to the house. But Bruce is staying behind Alfred at this point, and he's talking to them. And Joker says his real name, explains who he is, explains what happened. And Alfred, like, something goes off in Alfred's head. It's kind of like, oh, fuck. This dude found us. This dude figured out something. But, deny. Fast forward. Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, goes to this Wayne party. Because I think he is like like mayoral candidate type shit. Like, when they bring all the investors and stuff to help them on their campaign and things like that. Millionaire people shit. But anyway, the people of Gotham are now rioting. Not yet, they're not rioting. They are, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know. They have like the sign, like picketing and shit outside of the party. So Joaquin waits for a certain moment for them to get rowdy enough that the police don't pay attention to him anymore. Goes around back. I don't know if he jumps a fence or not, but he gets into the party basically. He then comes across a busboy or a waiter or something like that. I think he fucks him up. I think he beats him up and then takes his uniform so he can get into the party. So no one asks him questions, movie shit. So fast forward. Thomas Wayne goes to the bathroom. Joaquin Phoenix follows him. He gets in the bathroom, explains to him basically what he explained to Alfred outside of his gate. Thomas Wayne's like, "Oh, you're that crazy motherfucker that was outside of my house trying to harm my child and shit like that." Explains who he is. Thomas Wayne's like, "Oh shit, you." He's like, "What's your name again?" And he says it, and he's like, he basically. So Joaquin Phoenix then says, "Oh, you're my dad. Like my mom told me and all this other stuff." And Thomas Wayne is basically like, "I remember your mom, but I'm not your fucking dad, idiot. Like, I never would be. I just helped her push through paperwork." I think he was talking about adoption paperwork or something like that, but I don't know if he worded it that way, because obviously it's this dude that's like trying to come out. He's just like this mid-30, early 40 dude, early 40, words. Mid-30s, early 40-year-old man telling him, "Oh, you're my child." And the timing obviously doesn't make sense because, oh, now he's running for mayor. All this shit is on him. All this stuff is happening around him. So, oh, now all of a sudden kind of thing. So from that point, Thomas Wayne says, "I'm not your fucking dad, idiot." And I think he might beat him up. I don't remember, though. But anyway, fast forward a little bit. Ends up going to a hospital that she is at, the mental hospital, I believe. Ends up talking to the guy behind the gate that holds the files and shit. Asks him a bunch of questions. The dude ends up bringing the file out and says, "Hey, for you to view your mother's file, she's going to need to sign paperwork to say, hey, you can look at this." He's already crazy. So at that point, he's fighting with the dude to get the paperwork. He pulls it out of his hand, runs out. He gets into the stairwell, starts looking at papers. Sees that his mom was mentally disabled. She had mental illnesses that she was dealing with, and things like schizophrenic and all those types of things were on her file. And also the adoption paperwork that Thomas Wayne was talking about earlier when Joaquin Phoenix confronted him in the bathroom. Because he's mad, so he's not like, "Oh, I'm not adopted, blah, 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 this is my mom." It talks about the adoption paperwork and says his name and all this other stuff as the adopted one. And basically what it was Thomas Wayne pushed through the adoption papers because I guess maybe they had something going on, or we'll get into that in a little bit. But for right now, Thomas Wayne pushed the paperwork through so she can get Joker's mom can get a child. And throughout the whole movie, he doesn't know who his dad is. His dad is not present. His dad is not referred to except maybe a couple times. Not referred to by name or anything like that. And also, at that point, when he's looking through the paperwork, it says something about her boyfriend being physically abusive to her and her adopted child or whatever. So then that's when he kind of, he puts the pieces of the puzzle together and things like that. So now he's completely insane. And while all of this is happening, at one point during this situation, Robert De Niro is like a night show host, kind of like a Jimmy Kimmel, Scott Colbert now, Jimmy Fallon type thing. So he gets a call from one of the agents because the video of his stand-up that he did went viral. It's the 80s or late. It's mid to late 70s, early 80s or something like that. I believe that's when the movie takes place. So the clip of him doing his stand-up got to Robert De Niro's character. Robert De Niro talked about how awful it was and how bad of a joke it was and things like that. But because it gained so much traction, basically Robert De Niro's assistant reached out to Joaquin and was like, "We'd like you to be on the show, blah blah blah, this, that, and the third." So that's going to happen as well, and that would explain parts of the trailer that showed Robert De Niro's character talking and things like that, and whatnot, what have you. So anyway, fast forward a little bit or reverse, I'm not sure. Okay, so he's crazy. We get it. He's at that point now. He's just not being Joker, like just fucking killing dudes. He's got the 3 bodies of the 3 Wall Street douchebags that he met on that beat him up on the train. And with all this being said, he ends up, I guess, wanting some type of serenity, and ends up going to Zazie Beet's apartment. The door is unlocked. He hears them inside. He opens the door, walks in, and then sits on the couch. And at that point, Zazie Beetz comes out of her daughter's room. She has a little daughter in the movie. Comes out of the room, sees him, and freaks out. Like, "Oh my God, you're that guy from down the hall. Like, what are you doing here? Please don't hurt me. My little daughter's in the other room. Please leave us alone." Things like that. Why are you in here? Stuff like that. And that's when there's like a flashback for Joaquin Phoenix that like shows the situations he was in with Zazie Beetz as far as getting food, her showing up to the comedy thing, them being in an elevator talking, all this other stuff. And basically he made that shit up, dude. Like he made it up in his head. And then he didn't even know that it was fake until he ended up going to the apartment and Zazie Beetz like freaked out on him. Holy crap, this is like next level. There's a bunch of story arcs and shit. And I wish I remembered exactly how everything went, because then it would make more sense. But so that was it basically. And then that is when you go into Joker mode. He realizes what he did. He leaves. Another thing in his brain clicks. He's full-blown Joker now. He gets the suit, gets the thing, and I think that's when the dancing scene on the steps happened. And funny thing about those, some website, I feel like it's some like, what's it called? I'm trying to remember that website that just does dumb shit. I think the same website that said they discovered what like a chopped cheese was and like gentrified it basically, and people like freaked out. That same website, I think that like it's a blog or some shit. Where was I going with this? Oh, they basically said this is where those steps are at if you want to dance on them. And it's in like the hood in the Bronx or some shit. So it's like, don't be stupid. Don't go there and don't start dancing around on some fucking steps or you're gonna get got. At least that's what I took from it. And so did some people on Twitter. A lot of memes and shit came from it. Anyway, now Joaquin Joker gets to this late night show. Robert De Niro character walks in, gives him kind of a rundown. Hey, don't do any awful collar stuff. It's national television. There's certain things you can't touch, blah, blah, blah. Last thing before dude leaves is Joaquin Phoenix basically tells him, like, hey, when you introduce me as the Joker. Dude's like, the Joker? He's like, all right, whatever. So then he goes. Then the show happens. He sits on the couch. They talk about all the shit going on, and the dude's dying on the train and how like unfair it is, and it's just these 3 young white men that were trying to make their lives better, blah, blah, blah. And that's basically when Joaquin Phoenix said, like, I think Robert De Niro asked him like how he felt about it, and he's like, he gave his opinion and also said like, I shot them. That was me. Like, I killed them because they don't deserve to fucking live. Like, Gotham is falling into this craziness, and these dudes are everyone's so high up on this fucking hill that they don't realize what's happening like ground level, and what normal people go through, and all these people with any type of fame and money, they don't realize like what shit's going on and what stuff is happening. And from that's when he's like I'm the Joker. I did this because of blah blah blah. And then people start, and then because it's a popular like late night show, people like start the people that were like picketing and stuff like that started rioting, because then they're like, oh, let's fucking ride, like this dude revealed who he was, blah blah blah. So let's fucking go. Like this is the guy we needed to help make the difference in Gotham. Because like I said, he didn't kill anyone innocent, so to speak. He only killed people of note, like rich people, and things like that. Like the fact that he killed those 3 guys off of Wall Street that were just being douchebags. Like people really got behind it, and that's the vigilante thing. Which also reminds me of a thing I see every now and then, especially now that the Joker came out. When it came out, it was around the same time. It was, as a kid, I wanted Batman to win, but as an adult, I realized why Joker did what he did. Or like you align more with Joker when you get older or something like that, or like it makes more sense now, and you like prefer it or something like that. I forget the actual thing. I wish I could look it up again, but I can't. One, we don't really fact check here, and then also, phone's recording, laptop's being weird, so I don't want to use it to look up anything because God forbid something happens. Anyway, back to Joker. They get in a heated argument about stuff. Like, oh, well, did those guys deserve to die in cold blood, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And then he pulls out his fucking gun. Pow! Pops Robert De Niro right in the fucking face on live TV, dude. Like, it shows, like, the camera dropping and and you hear people running out the exits. And, yeah, dude just killed Robert De Niro on live TV, bro. On a late night, on like a popular late night show. So everyone in Gotham fucking saw it. And that's when the riots really turned up. People, and then it goes to the streets. It shows people flipping cars, busting windows, stealing stuff, and all that type of shit. Because finally they're like, we've had enough. Like, the citizens of Gotham don't deserve to be under this anarchy, or this monarchy rather, of all the like rich people within the city controlling everything and blah blah blah. Like, it's time to take back our fucking city type shit. And so they're doing all this. Obviously, Joker gets arrested. He shot a dude on national TV and killed him, headshot, bow, right to the fucking dome piece, bro. It was nuts. I want to see it again so bad so I could just see everything and really break into it. Anyway, riotings happen. Joker gets arrested. Cop cars rolling away. You see all the flames and Gotham burning and all this other shit. Then it cuts to a scene that shows Thomas Wayne, Martha Wayne, and Bruce coming out of the theater. And all this shit is happening basically at the same time, but they're showing like the different perspectives. So when it goes to Thomas and Martha leaving, and Bruce, they're leaving a theater, like in the books, like that. Okay. So in the comic books, Bruce Wayne's parents got killed by an unnamed, unknown assailant after they left the movie theater. Guess what the fuck the Joker did? It showed them leaving a movie theater during all this fucking chaos. And guess what happened? The Joker didn't kill him, but one of the people that fell into the whole vigilante Joker thing had a Joker mask on, pulled his gun out. I think he showed him ripping the pearls off of Martha's necklace, or Martha's neck off her necklace, and it showed him fucking killing Bruce's parents, bro. And as a comic book fan, I don't think it's ever been touched on. I think it might have been referred to, and maybe in Dark Knight they did like flashbacks, but it never was laid out that way, in my opinion. And if I'm wrong, somebody correct me, because I would love to know, Dark Knight was a good movie, all this other stuff. But I'm coming from more of a comic book background, so to speak. And again, I'm not the fucking comic book genius of the world, but this is what I remember. I remember, like, the way they shot it looked like they took they shot it frame by frame in the comic book. Like, kind of how we talked about Into the Spider-Verse was a comic book movie to the full extent. Like, there was, you know, key words were popping out, like action words and stuff like that would pop out, and it would pan into frame by frames of different events happening, and each frame has a different thing happening. That's how I pictured it in my head, is what Joker did. So it showed Bruce's parents getting killed, and it showed young Bruce, like, ghosted, white, pale face, just seeing his parents die. So then they cut back to Joker getting escorted away in a cop car. Van comes. It's chaos. Things are burning. People are looting. Stores are being broken into. Cop cars are getting overturned. People are fighting. All this stuff. Van comes through. Boom! Hits the squad car that Joker's in. Joker gets knocked out. Cops get knocked out. I think the cops might die. And then the people rioting pull Joker out of the fucking car, and, like, shake him a little bit and ask him to, like, wake up and stuff. So he wakes up. He goes to. It kind of shows him, like, coming slowly back into consciousness. Then it shows him waking up, people clapping and saying, "Yeah, like, you fucking did it, like, we're behind you," all this other stuff. So then he gets on the trunk of the car, looks around at what he basically did, or what he started, and people, again, are still clapping. They're gathering around him now. It's kind of like if this was him, people were just coming towards him, like, crowding around him, but, like, clapping and stuff like that. So it shows him doing that, and then I think he does, like, a pose, or he bows or something, like he just put on a show. Crazy shit. Then I think the movie pans to him being in a mental institute, and basically him talking to like a psychiatrist. Unfortunately, it wasn't Harley Quinn. That would have been sick, but it was some other psychiatrist. But she was asking him all these questions, and he said, you guys never asked me how I feel, or something along those lines. You always ask me how I'm reacting to this, what am I doing now, what situation I'm in, but you never ask me how I feel about these things. And then I think it shows him killing the psychiatrist and then leaving the room they were in, and then he's just walking, and then the security comes up and tackles him and shit like that. So then presumably he goes into, like, maximum security, shit like that. End movie. No end credit scene. Nothing. With all that being said, it was a great movie. I loved it a lot. Again, I'm planning on seeing it for a second time. But now, let's get into little details and little theories. And hopefully, and we're running a little long. It's like an hour and 3 minutes currently. So, hopefully, I can make this short and simple. So I'm just going to run through different things and run through what I think. At one point, Joker finds a letter that is addressed to his mom about certain things. I forget exactly what was on the letter. I think it was something about him loving her smile and all this other stuff. And it's signed TW. Instantly, the people I talked to was like, "Oh, that's Thomas Wayne. Oh, it's Thomas Wayne." I'm like, or is it? I'm like, and this is one of the theories that's going around. That could, it's like a 3-pronged thing in my mind. Is either that could actually be Thomas Wayne, and he's just denying this affair he had with Joker's mom to have him as his son and all this other stuff. So, wow. Okay, so TW is either actually Thomas Wayne, or because his mom was fucking nuts and he didn't realize it till last, She wrote that note and signed it TW because she worked with him. She was able to get the stationery, and she's crazy. So she might have wrote this note to herself to maybe eventually show Joker to like prove like, oh, this is your dad or whatever. But also, it talked about how she had a boyfriend at one point and how her boyfriend was physically abusive. So also, I thought TW might also be her boyfriend. So that was my three things for that. Also, it showed people were talking about how Joker didn't kill, or no, how Joker was so much older than Bruce in this movie, how like it wouldn't make sense chronologically. And then with that, I said maybe that was like OG Joker. Like this is the dude that started it off, gave Joker a name, gave him a platform, and Joker basically, because he gained all those people as followers, for lack of a better term, that when he got arrested and possibly, you know, died in jail or whatever, that someone took over that mantle of Joker. So that's why he has no like origin story, because it's more of a mantle, like how Ronin is in on the Marvel comic book side of things, and how Hawkeye was able to be Ronin as well as like a bunch of other people. It's like a mantle that someone can take up. And then that's also why, and then also I was talking with some people about it because they saw it too. I was saying that the new Joker might be the guy. So the new Joker after Joaquin Phoenix's Joker could have, the next guy to take the mantle could have been the guy that killed Bruce's parents. So that's another theory that I had. What else? I think that's it. Yeah, we're running awful long. I don't want to give you guys 2 hours. I could probably talk for a while. Be a lot more ums and yes and bullshit like that, but I'll try to keep it to a minimum. So, thanks for joining in, guys. Hopefully we'll get back to me and my co-host doing shit up. We're going to go back to the normal in the parking lot where it's conversation and we're able to weave in and out of topics and, you know, really dive into things. And also, hopefully in the next video, in the next podcast, you will hear Ant's side of things. Also, I didn't talk about Comic-Con at all. It was great. It was awesome. I want to go back. I will hopefully be getting a hotel room for next year because, holy crap, staying where I stayed and subwaying every day was the most annoying thing ever, especially with all the bags and luggage that you have to basically drag through the subway system in New York. Luckily, the subway system isn't very difficult to realize, but one of the nights, I'll say this little story and then try to, I'll outro it. One of the nights, I was out with a friend in high school. Shout out Josh. That's the homie. If you want to talk about comic book geniuses and comic book OG historians, that's one of those guys. He knows artists. He knows authors of it. He knows lineage. He knows all that stuff. Hopefully I can get him on this podcast one day and just let him go off and talk. Because that's one of the things that I just love, like listening to him. And one of my other friends, whose also name is Josh, they kind of come from the same world. They're actually the two dudes I went to the Franklin Institute to see the Marvel exhibit with, which was really awesome. That's a story for another day. But anyway, where was I going with that? Oh, Josh had a hotel room not too far from the actual Comic-Con, and we basically hung out with him. It got late. New York's open till like 2 or 3 in the morning, and even if places aren't open, lights are still on. People are still walking around. But this particular night, it seemed way deader than usual. We walked back to where we thought the subway would take us back to where we're staying. We ended up taking the wrong fucking train. So we ended up riding it for like 10 to 15 minutes in the wrong direction, then jumping on another one. And because it's late night, this didn't occur to us, it's now going to stop at almost every stop along that line. So there was like 30 stops on this thing. We were on the subway car for like 45 minutes, dude. It was so fucking ridiculous. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Again, my name's Eli. You can find me on anything that's important. Instagram, Twitter, and that's basically it. Sorry. So IG and Twitter at EKARAM32. That's EKARAM as in Mary 32 on Instagram and Twitter. Chop it up with me. Message me. I love talking about this shit. I could go on for days about a lot of different subjects. Comic books being one of them. But yeah, you could go ahead follow my guy Ant who isn't here at Pepper31 on Instagram. Also his YouTube channel Pep's Poker Reveals. He just uploaded a video not too long of opening up a Hidden Fates ETB box, which is like a double negative. Hidden Fates ETB, which is an Elite Trainer box, comes with the packs and the dice and all this shit to actually play the game. But anyway, support my guy. Support us here on In the Parking Lot. This has been the Curbside Talk. This has been In the Parking Lot presents Curbside. My name's Eli. You guys are beautiful. And I'll see you guys on another one. Peace.